Okay, so you're paying a producer, whether it's for studio time, for beats, or for services like mixing. You need to stop doing that. At least until you understand the concept I'm going to go over in this video. And the reason being that your current producer might currently be costing you, not just in terms of money, but in terms of years of growth as an artist, and in some cases might make it so that, you never reach your goals with your music. If you're interested in what I have to say, I want you to know that the concept I'm going to be going through in this video is extremely important to your career as an artist because it will dictate, it's essentially the foundation of every single collaboration and relationship you're going to have within the music industry. All right, so in the first part of this video, I really just want to go over why the current common artist-producer relationship in the music industry right now is broken. I want you to think back to when you started working with your current producer. What made you work with them? Was it their beats, their studio setup, maybe the credits that they had? Or was it more so just their prices? Because the thing is, I had a friend named Jane, and she worked in the R&B genre, and she had a producer for that genre as well. That producer, he had good beats, and he had a really cool studio. But the thing was that he would only really make Party Next Door type beats, those kind of like dark R&B beats, which is fine. Those beats are super cool, and I find myself making them from time to time. But the thing was that Jane, she was more in the lane of neo soul, that kind of like alternative mix of R&B and some other like soul genres. She told me that in all honesty, she didn't want to stay in that dark R&B lane. She felt like she was trying to force herself into someone else's sound, and it truly just didn't feel like her. Her music wasn't really authentic anymore, and I feel like that's something that as an experienced musician, I could tell. And so I asked her, why would you stay working with this producer? Why would you stay working with a producer that doesn't care about the same type of music you want to make and doesn't have the same goals, isn't aligned on the same goals that you have as an artist? Because it was also coming clear that he didn't really care about her goals as an artist. She wanted some music, some beats for live performances. She wanted something for, a live audience that she could play as a backing track at some gigs. But her producer didn't really care. He was just still sending, those R&B beats back and forth. Do you see what I'm getting at? I feel like a lot of artist-producer relationships these days are very transactional by nature because the producer doesn't really care. Like I said, they're not aligned with the same goals that the artist has. And so when I asked her, why not pick another producer? She said, well, simply because his rates, because of his prices. She thought that every producer was like that by nature. And so she thought that if producers were all the same, she might as well pick the cheapest one. That's when I realized just how broken the artist-producer relationship is in our generation, at least. Because an uncomfortable amount of producers don't truly care for the artists and their goals, and a lot of artists haven't branched out enough to know that there are other producers that don't just send beats back and forth, that have other methods. Okay, and I hear you. So if I'm hating on all this just sending beats back and forth stuff, what do I suggest instead? And to that, I would simply just say custom production. Custom production is king. In a world where everyone's trying to sound like another artist or where producers just care about getting placements, I feel like we've forgotten a lot of the main reason why we as creatives make music. We make music because we have a need to express ourselves. That's our why. We must create authentic music, not just something made for views or virality, something that we're actually proud of. And that kind of authenticity and feeling proud of a song, that's something you could never get with a YouTube beat or a pre-made beat. If you're that kind of person that really values creating authentic music that you feel happy with and you feel like you haven't been getting that, then you should know that there's something built greater for you than just, staying with YouTube beats your whole life. You're built for something bigger. You need tracks that were built custom tailored to your sound as an artist and what your vision is for whatever song you're working on. If you think about great artists like Michael Jackson or Bruno Mars, do you think they could have ever been as successful as they were and are with pre-made YouTube beats? No, these guys were legends. And interestingly, I think they also co-produced in their own tracks. They were heavily involved in the production process, working one-on-one with the producers that, was in their corner, making something that was custom for their sound. And the artist's job was to handle the artistry side of things. While, the producer was off doing technical stuff like mixing or whatever, the artist could focus on, songwriting, leading the project, just being the overall, like the leader, the visionary for the project. It's all about having the right artist to producer relationship, that environment where you as an artist can let go and, truly shine at what you're good at. At that point and at that point only can you actually create, authentic music that you're actually proud of, that you're happy with releasing and also performing. Because I think that is what truly, satisfies the need that we have as creatives to make authentic music, and nothing else can ever get in the way of that. And I think this is even more important now than ever because with AI, anyone can make a song. As long as they have a phone and a brain and thumbs to type on, they can make a song. Just when did we lower the bar so much to create music that you literally have to steal someone else's track in order to make your own track without even putting any thought into it? Artists that use AI for their songs will never get to feel that just the true joy of creation, right? Because without that struggle, you have to have a struggle in terms of, investing the time to find a team of people around you that's willing to work on your music with you. You have to put in time to get better at your craft, truly become the artist who you are. And without that struggle, none of it is worth it. If everything can be generated with a single prompt, there's no joy in that. How can you ever be proud of something like that if you didn't even make it? You simply just prompted it. I will never understand that. And so that's why I think the artist-producer relationship is more important now than ever. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.